So, you talked about obviously the 9 weeks and the madness that you've got here, and I said to you, you ever going to slow down? Um, and it must be difficult. I mean, obviously losing Andy,
Yeah.
and that was you haven't yet replaced Andy. You're talking about that, but let's talk about Andy for a minute. I mean, incredibly sad.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. What were your feelings on it?
Terribly sad, obviously. I mean, he and I had worked together for a very, very long time, up to the end of 2016. Very sad, very depressing, very distressing for the family, the children, and a surprise as well. Andy's, contribution. I mean, to Reed, to Ithaca, to other companies where we worked together, but obviously here, because I mean, he was the chief executive, I was the chairman. I mean, I was not strictly non-executive, but I certainly wasn't in the building 5 days a week or anything like that. So Andy was the driving force from when we started in 2009 for the next 6-7 years, and obviously his contribution was incalculable, enormous, not replicable.
Quite a genius, wasn't he?
Yeah, oh, in his way, yeah, and that kind of driving, marketing, let's do this, the kind of frenetic energy that got things done. Absolutely. It wasn't always easy to cope with, but
Well, yeah, I've only ever got an Andy story in there, but you must have a few, I'm sure.
I mean, Andy, you're talking Andy story. I'll tell you an Andy story.
Okay.
Everybody has shares, including our cleaners work. Our cleaning staff work for another company, as is normal, but nonetheless, because they were our regular cleaners, they have shares as well. And Andy always liked to tell one of his favourite stories. Is one of our cleaners who'd been working at the company for 4 or 5 years got hold of him one night and said, "Andy, I want to talk to you about how our company is doing." And Andy used to tell that story, and he was really, really pleased about it that people thought like that.
Is that left a void? I mean, what next, sort of thing?
Well, no, I mean, we do have a seriously competent board. Of course, we do. We have Phil Nelson, we have Michael Westcott, we have Alexia Maycock, we have Matt Butler, we have Sam Starr, the FD, we have Suzanne King, who came from Reed and ITE, who's the COO. This is a pretty good lineup.
And where do you see Closerstill going?
We have a very good private equity company, Providence. They used to own Clarion. They used to own George Little, which became Emerald. So they have plenty of experience in the sector. And they're the kind of company that wants to grow. They're the kind of company that wants to invest. They're the kind of company that inevitably is saying, find good acquisitions. Let's keep growing the business. Let's not pretend, private equity. They're not there as friends, and of course they're friends, but I mean they're not there just to give you money and then go away for 3 years.
But with that, I mean, okay, so these enormous successes that you've been part of and driven and been chairman of, and what's left for you? Are there ambitions left for you now? I mean, is there anything further that you want to do? Anything left that you specifically want to ever go at?
I'd like to win the men's doubles. There is now an over 70s men's double tournament at the club where I play. I'd quite like to win that with my part.
72, Phyllis, unbelievable. Look at him. Looks younger than me. Looks better than me. So no other ambitions there. If you don't see yourself doing one more round of
No. Although I will continue to have a great interest in the relationship, particularly between private equity and trade shows, which has probably been the core of what I've been doing for getting on for 20 years. I mean, where I sit, it's as important to understand private equity as it is to understand trade shows. And the relationship between the two really quite intrigues me.
I think you've been the instigator of that. And like I said, it's been quite an amazing journey for the industry.
Blenheim was a very special story. And Blenheim was the first time, really, that the financial community took notice of trade shows. And it took 4 or 5 years before private equity started seriously beginning to invest. And that has been the tremendous change. But then it's been a tremendous change for everybody. If you want to raise money for a business now, you don't go to your local bank manager, etc. You don't do IPOs. You might go to friends and families, but actually, private equity is the game. Private equity and venture capital is the game. That's where the money is. That's where everything is now.
Do you think we as an industry should learn more about that? I still think there's quite a lot a knowledge gap. Do you not think between in the?
I mean, private equity has come to, I won't say dominate, but take an enormous share in the industry now. Blackstone, Providence, Charterhouse are big players, and they have three of the what are now the five largest event operators. We've only got, excluding Reed, which is slightly different. We've only got one serious quoted company now, which is Hive, ITE. So it's no longer a stock market play.
And you've been chairman. You're chairman of lots of things. You've been chairman of all sorts of, the AEO included. What was your view of how the development of the AEO? Because again, that's changed dramatically in your lifetime in exhibitions. Yeah. I mean, amazingly so.
Yeah.
And are you happy with it at the moment? Do you feel it could be doing other things?
I was actually chairman 2008, 2009, which was quite a tricky time.
And the world was falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, of our big players, that was an interesting period because we lost one of our big players, essentially because it was costing them X, not so much to be an AEO member, but the obligation to audit was costing about £1,200 a time. Now, if you're running 50 shows, that's 60,000 plus your membership fee is about £80,000, and you're sitting around a boardroom table, and your revenue is off X, Y, and Z because it's 2009. Then obviously the pressure on your AEO membership is intense, and it's one of the reasons why we had to agree to drop the obligation to audit in 2009 because that financial pressure was so great on our bigger members. That was a very, very contentious decision. It was the relevant AGM. It was opposed really quite violently by, among others, Chris Hughes and Andy Center. And you only had to look at that graph 4 or 5 years ago to know that you had to lose an exhibition centre.